Pink people of the USA EU have this belief in their brains that they own us. That is why they are always putting their nose into our furs to subdue us to their will. Few examples of them putting their nose into our furs are Zimbabwe, Ivory Coast, Central African Republic, Mali, DRC, Gambia, Kenya, and the list is without doubt the entire of brown Africa, which has bogged us down into being totally dominated by them in our own homeland, as seen with their languages, identities, and culture being supreme in Africa, while our own are dying. As seen with how they own our economies and natural resources, which is the cause of the massive poverty and starvation in Africa. While we never put our nose into their affairs, how can we, when they have control over our brains, because they have imposed their languages in our homes while our own languages are dying, for the purpose of shaping our thinking, opinions, beliefs through mass supply of informations that are designed to bog us down into the slave mentality we generally have, where we as a people in our majority view the pink people of the USA EU as superior human beings and ourselves as inferior human beings. Because the brain can only speak what it has stored as information and think based on information it has stored or is currently getting. If the majority of information in our brains as a people are supplied by pinks of the USA EU through schools, content, and the media which rely on the languages currently, therefore on the information, it simply means we are mere parrots of theirs without an opinion of our own. That is us being properties of others. That is us today, the 9th of February 2015, remaining slaves of Europeans of the USA EU. You should feel ashamed of accepting submission to those who raped our great and grandmothers. Obviously, you do not know that is why you are worshipping them. Learn and take a stand if you have not yet. Taking back our power away from them requires the removal of their languages as main languages of communication and their replacement with our own languages as main languages of communications. The eradication of all the informations we have imposed in Africa, what many call supply in Africa, which are mentally oppressing us, therefore physically oppressing us, because we are only what our mental is. Putting economic sanction on them by banning anything made in the USA EU entry into Africa, not to finance the racist oppression against us, and instead import from China, Iran, North Korea, Venezuela, and others, while we are working on building our own. Cutting all ties with the USA EU, because ties with them mean we want to be slaves, and teaching brown children from schools and the TV that the USA EU were built for the sole purpose of hurting us. As seen with the past of horror in Africa and the current present of racist colonial and slavery dominance they maintain on us, which is the cause of the current chaotic reality in Africa. Issued by Protecting Africa on the 9th of February 2015.